Are we to blame for this? Because there's a lot of stuff that we let slide.
We as in what? What do you mean by we?
Basically minorities. Are we to blame for like because we let so much shit slide, or we let so much like the thing that I hate. Like we bring up the Kardashians, right? It's clear that they steal black culture. It's a bit like they haven't denied it. Like people call them out and they just don't care at this point. And niggas continue to stand next to them, which is like my issue. And then you have like Kylie Jenner, which again this is gonna be like kind of a deep dive, but like Kylie Jenner, she is pretty much copying her sister's blueprint, and then she just happens to have a kid with Travis Scott, who's like, again, for niggas, especially young niggas, Travis Scott is like one of the dudes. He's like these kids think he's an icon. Mm-hmm. That's their fucking Prince or whoever the fuck like we were looking up to back in the day or whatever. Like that's them. Like he's him to them, right? And like stands right next to her. But also, if you know Travis Scott, he's very active on like black issues, and he's always talking about like this shit and everything like that. So then I look at it and I'm like, there's a part of me who's like, I get it, like love who you love, like who you like, that's fine. There's also a part of me who is like, but you're also the problem because you stand next to these people and you allow it to happen. The same thing where like there was something today where, if you guys remember, Miley Cyrus had that album a couple years ago that was like really her best album when she was fucking with basically all hip hop. She had like Mike Will made it like as her executive producer, and she had all these bangers. I think the album was called Bangers. And she had all this dope music, and she was like, that was like her peak. She was like at her most popular. And after that shit, she got so much backlash. I remember like a year went by, and she was like, I'm not doing hip hop music anymore. I'm going back to my roots. You know, it's too sexual.
And then she blamed the weed, which is like, weed does not make you do any of that stuff.
Like, but it was so funny because she was so like blatantly racist without being like, cause she's like, it's too sexual. You know, I hate how they disrespect women while you were twerking, dancing.
You fucking made a profit off that shit.
Off of every bit of it. And then today it came out that she's going back because her last project was shitty. She's going back to Mike Will Made It, and they're doing another album. And I looked and I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. How? I'm like, nigga, you gonna go back? Like after she made all this money, left, shitted on everybody, you gonna be like, all right, it's cool. Some niggas gotta be held accountable for this shit, honestly.
Who would really refuse the money though?
If you are a stand-up person and you know what's going on, you can refuse that money. You can. Mike Will Made It is not broke whatsoever, at all. Half the fucking production you hear on the radio is half of his producers anyway. He didn't need that. That's the shit where I get angry because I'm like, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah. Why are we gonna fight this shit when then we're like, oh no, that's bad. Like, because I feel like what it is, honestly, with these celebrity niggas is they choose who to pick and like who to point out and be like, no, based off fame and popularity.
And that's it. Doesn't matter what they said before.
Doesn't matter. You let Madonna come out today and be like, you know what, I love Drake and Migos, whatever. All them niggas will be at her door trying to make an album.
Yeah.
But we just gonna forget how Madonna completely disrespected Aretha Franklin and made her whole tribute about her. And didn't give two fucks. This is what we gonna do? All right, man. Like, that's why I get mad. Cause I'm like, I don't want to hear none of this whole, like when these niggas scream Black Lives Matter and shit on Twitter and everything, or in their records and shit, and then you go out and you still do fuck shit. What's the point? You're telling everyone that who consumes your shit that this shit don't matter. It's all about money.
Yeah.
I can sort of like not blame Travis Scott for like going after Kylie Jenner and like being with her.
She's bad. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like even your first reaction with like when we showed you the Blackfish movie, it was just like, damn. Because it was just like, it wasn't about anything else. It was just about the look. But then when you dive deeper, you're like,
Wait a second though. Did you find Kylie Jenner attractive before the surgeries?
Of course not.
I did a little bit, but I have different tastes.
Well, me, hell no. Of course not.
Like, have you seen pictures of like Kim before the surgery and
Kim,
before
no.
the makeup?
Kim was
Trash.
Yeah, like all that.
So, like,
Shredded dash.
The older three, yeah.
That's what gets me is that like all these people like Travis Scott, like you like Kylie because she has black features.
Right.
But she got her lips done, she got her hips done, she got her ass and her tits done. So like all you like everything from a black woman, just not on a black woman. So how hard are you really standing up for black people? You know?
I feel like it's a trick too because like we grow up like finding that attractive because that's what we see, so we find that attractive. So like when someone else has it, when we don't, like Kylie has it, you're like, damn, because that's the stuff we're kind of like programmed to like because we grew up with it. You know what I mean?
And then
And that's like the trick of like it tricks your brain, and then like you forget all the bad shit that the bad shit that they're actually doing.
But it's like she's still white though. Like she's, you know, like. So I feel like as much as you're attracted to those features, you like them better on a white woman. You don't like them on black women. So that's an issue. That's where I feel like people are still kind of like systemically fucking brainwashed to feel like, you know, we're still in that Eurocentric beauty standard wave that we're trying to hop off of. Because there's listen, Travis Scott could have gotten any black woman that looks just, who has Kylie's body and just darker skin, and I'm sure that they would have wanted him just the same and had his kid just the same. But there's something about those features on white women that people go crazy for, and that's the sad part. That's what fucks me up. Or I'm like, how, like, are you really standing up for the culture if, like, you're just hanging with fucking culture vultures? Like, what are you doing? You don't care about black women.
For the record, I like all those features. It's better on black women. It just looks better. Like it's just more. I don't know what it is.
See,
it just looks better.
That's the thing. That's when it comes to like the whole. I don't know if it's a self-hate thing or systemic racism. I don't know.
I think
fucking
so
know.
because
but
there's, you know how many dudes are like, I'd never date a dark-skinned woman, and they're fucking black. Like, you were birthed by a you came out of a dark-skinned woman's pussy, and you would never date a dark-skinned.
Can't prove it. It wasn't my choice, though. If I had a choice,
I had a choice.
I'd have came out of you.
That's so disgusting.
Such a smooth little line. I know.
So, let me just get you.
Mark, I'll write that down for you.
Thanks.
Whoever's talking to Mark in the DM, just be aware that this is coming.
Shit coming.
And then shit's gonna come.
But yeah, like that's the thing. Exactly, that's the shit that. I always go back to middle school because middle school was like the real culture shock.
That was our first experience with a lot of white people for both of us.
Do you remember? I'm not gonna say names, but there was this one white girl who there was maybe like two of them. They had
Allison. That was just a white name.
I didn't know there was no whatever, but they were one of the white girls that had like fatties, right? And I remember like
I think I know what you're talking about.
I remember niggas and like all the minorities, we loved them. They were like, oh shit, oh my god, like one of us got a yo. Look, I don't care who, whatever. We just need to know and everything, right? And they would they would come around, flirt with the niggas a little bit. They would never be with a nigga though. They was always still with the white boys, right? There was a whole bunch of girls that took our bus. There was a whole bunch of girls that we knew of, or at least like I did from certain people and everything, that were just as thick as them girls. The only difference was they was black. That was the only difference, or they were Hispanic, and it wasn't even taken as like the same thing. Which to me was crazy because I was like, yo, so and so is cool, but did you see fucking whatever? I'm gonna say a name because they don't know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. First name.
Well, no, here's the funny part. The black girl I'm talking about, her name was Shannon. Super thick. Like crazy. Like, and I was like, oh my God. She was as dark as that fucking Fire TV cube or whatever. I thought she was beautiful.
Almost purple.
Like, no, but I'm serious. Like, look, she was gorgeous, all right? And like niggas who was like niggas, we was like, oh my God, all right? But then everyone else, she can walk by, nobody cared. The funny part about it was after a while, because niggas is chasing, these white girls and everything, I remember she started to like one of the white boys there, and that hurt my heart so much because I was like, damn man, like because niggas like we don't know, and the thing that's crazy is like the white boys will appreciate that shit more than we would. Which is, to me, insane. I don't get it.
It's the Serena Williams thing. I'm sorry. But, like, everybody for ages was shitting on Serena Williams. She looks like an ape. She's too manly. I'd never date her.
Really?
She looks like a nigga.
Wow.
What? Like, oh, my God, shitted on forever. She gets married to a white dude, and everybody's like, how could she be with a white dude? That's disgusting. She fucked up and it's like, after all the black men shitted on her and none of them wanted her, now you're mad that some white dude has her?
Common.
That's on you.
Fuck you, Common. Drake. Fuck you, Drake.
Right?
Y'all all had the chance, man, and y'all hit, and y'all didn't care. Like, that nigga cared. All right, that's why I get angry, because I'm like, man, what the fuck? And then like you can't sit on one side and be like, nah, man, but we fucking niggas is taking the culture and everything. We on this, but then on the other side, you like, like I'm trying to think of fucking like Kanye. You know what I mean? Like
Kanye's such a piece of shit.
Like he was the embodiment of like niggas. We was like, if there's one nigga who's honest about everything,
right,
it's that nigga, right? All his songs and everything he talked about was like black. Like, honestly, today, imagine if Kendrick just randomly in 3 years was like, you know what? Everything I talked about, I was wrong. Oof. And I actually love white people. And they're not doing anything wrong. And he dumps his girl and gets with, like, fucking, I don't know, like, whoever, right? The same impact on these kids that Kanye had on us, they would have it. And they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, right? And that's what I'm talking about with Kanye, because everything he did was like, oh, it's pro-black. He made, like, non-black people accept these, like, body types because of his videos and shit, and the girls he would have in it and everything like that. Before Stacey Dash was a piece of shit, that fucking All Falls Down video, I was like, Stacey Dash is gorgeous to me, right? And she was the whole focus of that whole video. You didn't give a fuck about the song, nothing, right? And he was doing shit like that, which was dope as fuck. And then,
but see, even that, where she's fucking light skin, green eyes.
True.
Was she always?
I don't
think of Clueless, and
I feel like
she was always that like green-eyed, light-skinned black girl.
I want to say
even if
she was a little darker,
light-skinned, like she had the green eyes, like it does something.
Yeah.
I think she was a little darker though during Clueless.
She was a little darker. She was still nigga. Like now, I don't know what she is, but that's what I'm talking about. To where like and it to me is just crazy because it's weird to push for shit and then you don't support really what you're supposed to be supporting or whatever. But also, I'm not trying to say like a lot of these niggas, because a lot of these niggas a lot of these black activists do a lot of dumb shit, and they say like, oh, you have to procreate black, and you have to do shit.
They go too far.
It's fucking retarded.
Yeah. Right? When you go too far with like that kind of stupid little like detail shit, it's just kind of like,
that's just stupid, man. Yeah. Like again, love who you love. Not saying, but make it on the basis that you fuck with that person. Yeah. Don't make it on the basis of they look like some shit that you like already could have had, but because they're not that and they're so pretty to you because they have all this shit, nah, that's foul. Like I don't understand the point on that. Like I don't get how these Kardashian bitches keep getting all these fucking niggas and they keep going through the same cycle.
It's the fame that comes with it for her.
And money. Yeah, like that's a name. Yeah.
You get a picture, like a picture is caught with you two like holding hands, something like that. Your fame goes from here to like way up here. Right. So it's kind of like I understand it. It's still fucked up, but I understand it as far as like if you're doing it for business.